the Muslims rallied round and beat her to coma on the campus.
These are
And
her peers.
yeah, her mates. And not only so, then they set her ablaze there on the campus.
I want to welcome everybody to a new friend of ours by the name of Stephen. Now, Stephen, you're currently living in Nigeria, correct?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, excellent. And so I happened to come across a video of yours where you had done sort of a response to one of my own videos about the current, call it what it is, genocide that's been taking place in Nigeria. And I appreciated that so much. And, when you had reached out, I thought that this had to be God sending you this way because I've been praying for somebody on the ground to talk to about this. So I want to thank you once again for coming here and joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I guess where we can start off is who is Stephen? Who are you? Uh, how do you describe yourself? What are you into? And what has God been calling you? I guess into as far as message ministry because you have content and things of that nature. So I really want people to get a sense of who you are.
Thank you very much.
Mm,
I'm a Christian, a Nigerian
mm,
Christian who uh, who became a Christian. I wasn't born in a Christian family. I was actually
mm.
born in a Muslim family.
Wow.
But I was being weighed down by the load of my sin, and I didn't
Mm,
know where to turn to. I did all I could as a Muslim, did all this religious stuff, but I
yeah.
wasn't still free from sin. So in my desperation, I approached a friend of mine. That was
Mm-hmm.
many years ago anyway. We were classmates. So I
Mm,
went to him, told him all that I was going through, and to cut the whole story short. So he prayed with me, and I became a
mm.
Christian.
Wow.
That was in my late teenage years. Since then, I have been in the church, but
Mm,
I didn't know much of um, the deep things in Islam. The deep,
mm.
just like an average Muslim,
Yeah.
you wouldn't know anything. You were just doing that religion. But
Mm,
the thing that kept me going on was that here is someone that reached down to me and pulled me out of my sin. And I saw that a change happened in my life, which was not there
wow.
before when I was a Muslim.
Yeah.
So I always came across Muslims that would attack Christianity and try to say there is this contradiction,
Mm,
um, Trinity is not true. I didn't have any response. I didn't have any
mm.
response. But the only thing that I held on to, the only thing that kept me going was that I was a sinner before.
Yeah.
And now that Jesus has saved me, I was like, how come that these people are still saying all this, that whatever be the case, that's their problem.
Mm,
And I continued in church ministry. I had been a chorister. I led choir when I was in my college years. All that kind of thing. We go about, preach the gospel, reach out to villages. When I was even, I'm not sure if you understand this thing that they called NYSC in Nigeria,
what is
National
that?
Youth Service, National Youth Service Corps,
Okay.
NYSC.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a mandatory 1 year service for all graduate students. So once you graduate from a college and you are under 30 years old, you are going to serve, we call it service, national service.
Mm,
So you will spend about a year somewhere. You'll be posted to another state apart from your own state.
mm.
So when I went for that youth service, I still served in the church. I was a kind of pastor to a village church, all that. All that changed about 10 years ago. So
Mm.
I want to get into why I started my YouTube content.
Yeah.
That changed 10 years ago when I came across a video by David Wood. He
Oh,
called
that's
it,
right.
yeah. That was my baptism of fire into apologetics. So the title of that video, if you look for it, it's still online.
Mm,
It is "Who Killed Muhammad?"
mm,
I got it through a friend. I borrowed a hard disk, a computer hard disk, from a friend of mine because that is my profession. Computing is
mm.
my profession. I do some software
Oh, okay.
development. So I
Mm,
borrowed that hard disk, wanted to repair a computer. So I needed to move the content into a storage device. Then after the repairs, I would pull it back. It was in that my friend's hard disk. I do not know. I can't remember what I was looking for. Then I stumbled across this video.
wow. Ah. Wow. Hey, hey, hey. Okay. God is
And
gonna reach you
and you
anyway.
know, yeah, and you know what's funny? Um, my friend got that hard disk, got the
Ah.
content of the hard disk from a Muslim who gave him his own laptop to repair.
Mm.
You get the story. So
Yeah.
he he moved the content of that client's laptop into his own hard disk, repaired the laptop, moved back the content, but did not delete it from his own hard disk. That was how it got to me.
Wow.
And he did not know that it was there. He didn't know it was there. So when I watched that video for the first time, "Who Killed Muhammad?" I
Hmm.
was dazed because it was so telling. I watched and watched
Hmm.
and watched repeatedly to learn that this man called Muhammad actually died by poison in the hand of a Jewish woman.
Hmm.
That was that was it was amazing. So a lot of questions kept ringing in my heart. Why didn't they tell us this when we were Muslims? Why don't Muslims talk about it? Every Christian talks about how Jesus died. It's not a thing of
Absolutely.
shame.
It's
We're not ashamed.
foundational. Yeah.
Exactly. It's foundational.
Hmm.
So how come that Muslims are not proud to talk about how Muhammad died?
Hmm.
So I started looking for, I didn't know who David Wood was because he didn't mention his name in that video.
Yeah.
So I started going around on YouTube, trying to locate who is this man.
Hmm.
So I was able to match some other videos with the one that I had in my
Mm-hmm.
hand. From
Mm-hmm.
there, I got to know his name was David Wood. He
Mm-hmm.
had a friend called Nabi Qureshi.
Yeah.
So from that time, I got hooked. And all of the lies that we were told, everything was just being pulled away. The scales were falling down. And so
Hmm.
then some sort of annoyance, some sort of anger. The more I digged deep, the more I found that I was angry. Why all these lies? Why were we not told all these things?
Yeah.
Then I started going into some other Christian contents. Um, Mike Winger,
Mm-hmm.
Jay Smith when he was at Speaker's Corner, and many
Mm.
other people. I got to know Frank Turek. I got to
Yeah.
know all these people.
Yeah.
So I started looking into the foundations of Christianity and how you can intellectually prove it. Oh, I got blown away.
Hey.
So I felt my own people,
Yeah.
whether in the church or in the mosque, they are not aware of these things. Why? That was why I started to make public my content about 2 or 3 years ago. So that's just the
So
summary of,
you went from
yeah,
being a man who couldn't even face a conversation from a non-believer, from a
yeah.
Muslim who was contradicting you, to now it's like you have saturated yourself and you can now stand and really be an apologist for the faith. That is incredible. So, I mean, and again, the story of the computer is going to be a hallmark now. for everybody who's watching right now, this is going to become a part of our lives, that God will make sure that somebody else doesn't delete that content so it gets into your hands.
Yeah.
Nothing will stop God. So, okay. So the question I did have though, as you are making this conversion, you're saved, you're now a believer. Are you outward about it with the people around you? You have Muslims that are in your family still. Are you hush hush? What did that look like for you?
Okay. Yeah.
Mm,
Um, I came from a family of five children. I was
mm-hmm.
the firstborn.
Okay.
My parents weren't that religious,
Mm-hmm.
but they got very, very crazy when I told them I was going to church.
Wow.
It wasn't funny.
Mm,
At a time, about two or three teachers had to come together and contribute my um, tuition fee for a term or two because my
mm-hmm.
parents just rejected me. They rejected me.
Mm,
But I persisted by God's grace. I was surrounded
yeah.
by Christians, real Christians, because
Yeah.
I attend a, we call it gospel church here. We
Mm-hmm.
call it these Pentecostal churches. There are many around. I
Mm,
happened to attend one then. So they surrounded me, didn't allow the persecution to overwhelm, but I
mm,
got persecuted, seriously persecuted by my
yeah.
parents.
Mm,
So ever since, I've had a lot of Christian friends. We've been moving fine. I've
mm,
also contributed to a lot of church service here and
mm-hmm.
there. So that is the story.
So I guess you said your parents, it was rejection immediately. Your brothers and
Yeah,
sisters, the same
immediately.
thing, or?
See, I was the firstborn. So
Mm-hmm.
we were all in high school. We call it secondary school
Okay.
here.
Mm-hmm.
And so since I was the firstborn, my siblings couldn't reject me. They didn't even know
Mm.
what was happening. They
Yeah.
didn't know. I tried to woo some of them.
Mm.
Now I have three. I used to have four. I'll tell you the story of how one of my younger brothers died some months ago.
Mm. Wow. Sorry
So
about
then
that.
I was having four brothers
Mm-hmm.
and four sisters. I tried
Mm-hmm.
my best to preach to them and bring them to Christ, but my parents did not allow them. They didn't allow them. And they
Yeah.
couldn't face the kind of persecution that I faced. So they
Yeah.
just went back. But one of them, one of them came to stay with me when I was on campus for about a
Mm-hmm.
year or so. And
Mm-hmm.
so we would go to church together. We would attend campus fellowship, very vibrant fellowship of brothers and sisters. He wasn't converted then until
Mm-hmm.
years later when he
Mm.
became a young man. At that time, he was just a teenager, tried to enroll him in a nearby secondary school so he could also um, get to school while I was
Yeah.
also a student on campus. So several years later, on his own, completely isolated from family, from everybody,
Mm.
the Spirit of God started dealing with him. He knew that he had to make his ways right with God, but
Wow.
he didn't know how to go about it. He was wondering, is Islam the way? Is Christianity
Yeah.
the way? But then the years that he spent with me on campus kept on flooding back on his mind. He compared those years with all the other Muslims. And in his own words, he saw the difference. This is a Christian. This is
Mm.
the only Christian in this family. But I see his life is different from every other person.
Yeah.
So he chose to follow Christ. That was how he got converted. He repented and became a believer
Wow.
himself. He
Unbelievable. And
passed
sometimes
away.
you Oh, so this is the same brother. He was
Yeah,
the second
yeah.
oldest?
No, um he was the second to the last.
Ah.
The second to the last. So in between me and him, there are
Mhm.
two people.
Mhm.
So he was the fourth of the five children.
Mm. And you're saying, so what happened to him?
Ah, wow.
Mm.
No, this is, he took ill and we didn't know it was liver related.
Mhm.
Um, it was already too late before I got to know. As a matter of fact, he died literally in my hands. He died in my
I'm
house.
so sorry. Wow.
Some 6 months ago or thereabout.
Mhm.
It was so heavy on my mind. But I have the
Mm.
joy that um, I wept for.
Yeah.
I, even now that
Yeah.
I'm saying it, I still feel it.
Mhm.
But I have that hope
Yeah.
that one day we shall reunite again.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah. And that is the promise that Christ has given us
Yeah,
of everlasting life. So I can only imagine that this has even fueled you more so, you know, to stand up for the faith, seeing what Christ has done in your own life, and then to see your little brother probably
yeah,
so unseemingly to come to Christ, and then, as they say, changing addresses, right? As a Christian, you don't die, you just you change locations.
yeah.
So so in that, did you see any sort of shift of the people around you? I mean, are any of your other brothers and sisters now in a place where they're adults and they're questioning things more, or is there really a separation and that's becoming more and more now as Christians and as Muslims or
Um, i- of the four siblings that I had, now that
Mhm.
one is late, there are three
Yeah.
remaining.
Yeah.
So one of them, the one following me immediately,
Mhm.
is a hardcore Muslim.
Mm.
Yeah, he attended this Quranic school. Um, his own family, everybody is raised as Muslim. His wife has this burqa from head
Yeah.
to toe. So, as far as I can remember, the last time that I saw her face
Yeah.
was more than 20 years ago. So you know the kind of level that they operate. But the
Wow.
two sisters that
Yeah.
we are not at enmity, though. We're not. He's
Mhm.
not. Uh, at least outwardly, we relate pretty well.
Beautiful. Yeah.
The the two sisters following him,
Mhm.
ah, and this breaks my heart
Yeah.
because they are the average Muslim on the street who do not know their left from their right. And yet they have persisted in this way, this Islamic way.
Yeah.
I'll call them victims. They are victims.
Mm.
They're victims. I'm praying that one day they will
Yeah.
come to they will come to see the light of Christ
Amen.
and respond to his love. So we're all getting on fine. Both of my
Yeah.
parents are dead now. Both of
Mhm.
them are dead. So that's just as far as my family um, relationships.
Wow. And thank you for sharing that. That is close and intimate, and especially, you know, about your brother and how fresh that is. But again, that gives, anybody out there watching to say, we can hold on to hope. And I think that's something that is more necessary now in these times, which I believe is
Mm.
the final hour in essence for us before meeting back up with our Lord. But can you then tell me, in the last 20 or so years, or I guess I don't even want to insinuate, have things gotten drastically worse for Christians in Nigeria, or do you always remembering it being this level of persecution?
Ha. Everything in
Mm,
Nigeria
mhm.
is for the wars by the day.
Mm.
literally everything. So you can imagine the Christian persecution too, because
Yeah.
Nigeria has drifted from a a Western kind of nation
Mhm.
to a point where Arab and China, they are the they are the new friends of the governments in power. Nigeria used to be an ally of US,
Yeah.
of UK. When I was growing up, you would see Western companies taking all kinds of projects in Nigeria. Julius Berger, I think from Germany, if I'm not mistaken, and some
Mm.
other companies. They were the ones, engineers, all kinds of
Mm.
things.
Yeah.
But in successive years, the administrators of Nigeria, who are majorly Muslims, I can
Mhm.
count the number of Christians that have ruled Nigeria in the last 20, 30 years.
Mm.
So they have systematically moved Nigeria away from Western influence, particularly in the north. And so
Mm.
that has made the Christian persecution in the north um, very, very severe, worse than before.
Yeah.
So um, when I was growing up as a young man, I had just become a Christian. Once in a blue
Mhm.
moon, we would hear about these clashes in the north, in Kano, in Kaduna. But
Mhm.
now it's all over the place. It's all over the place. And it's spreading southward too. So
Mm.
to answer your question in a nutshell, it's worse now than before.
Yeah. And why do you think it is that there's been such either an ignorance or an ignoring of it from much of the world as it's ramped up? You know, they talked about it decades ago a little bit, but now it's so much worse, as you said, on the ground, and yet we hear less and less about it. What do you think that's about?
First of all, I'll I'll put the blame at the doorsteps of the Christian leaders in Nigeria themselves,
Okay.
because it is this docile, wishy-washy,
Mm.
don't confront, don't make anybody angry kind of um, preaching that you get. Just
Mm.
concentrate on Christianity and the coming of the Lord. Um, don't take part in public debates. Don't get involved in politics, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So much of the blame I'll put on the Christian leaders. Because
Mm.
if you don't shout about your problem, how do you
Yeah.
expect others to know about it? So
Absolutely.
yeah, that is the first thing. The second thing is, see, about 2 weeks ago or thereabout, I saw a content of yours on
Mm.
ideological subversion,
Mm.
where you were reviewing this man's video, Yuri
Oh,
Bezmenov or something
yes.
like that,
That's right.
a defector KGB.
Mm.
So that thing is real in Nigeria. It's
Wow.
real. So it's not possible to go through the Nigeria's educational system and not become completely subdued and unable to raise your voice, stand for
Mm.
yourself. That
Mm.
so it's subversion. But then from the side of the West, ah, I'm not the kind of person that will blame others for our own
Yeah.
misfortune.
Mm.
So I don't want to blame the West for not waking up to our problem.
Yeah.
I know the West has their own problem. So I don't know. I don't. I think
Mm.
it is we Nigerian Christians that have not actually raised our voices. That's
Yeah.
how I'm going to put it.
And you pointed out something that is so interesting to me because, when you have a worldview that is landlocked in either the Western civilization or even more so, let's say the United States, you think everybody else lives in these sort of homogenous environments where everybody is the same. So you think, one Christian is like every Christian in Nigeria, not understanding that there too we have the same problem as we have in America or much of the West, where you have most of the church is lukewarm, right? Most of the church is not necessarily focused on the Great Commission, but instead on not offending, as you had stated, right? I thought that was a Western issue. We have liberal churches here where they're so afraid to offend the next person that they won't tell them the truth. And so,
Mhm.
I'd like you to go a little deeper into that one there.
Okay. You see, the Nigerian church is fractured.
Mm,
So, and that may also have contributed a lot. The northern part of Nigeria is where the heat of persecution is felt most.
mm,
The southern part is divided along this Pentecostalism, evangelicalism, and you have the Anglicans, the
mm,
Methodists kind of doing their own, and the
mhm,
new churches that sprang up in, I think, in the 70s or so. So they are the sort of the revivalist movements.
mm,
Um, so it is in these churches that you find that members isolate from discussions in the society,
mm,
debates about politics, confronting
mhm,
issues. It is these movements, these spiritual Pentecostal movements.
mhm.
Um, you see, we have two Christian bodies in Nigeria, the umbrella bodies of
Okay.
Nigeria, the Christians. There is one that is called the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN. We
Mm,
generally call them CAN here. Um, CAN is broader and it includes the Anglican, the Baptist, the Methodist, and other churches.
mhm,
Whereas the other one, which is you will see where I'm going with this, the
yeah.
Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN. So
Mhm,
that is the body of these other ones that I've just described, the Pentecostal movements, the spiritual church, the born again movements,
mhm,
the born again movements. So you find the PFN. PFN is more detached from issues of the society than CAN. So my own
mm,
church belongs to PFN kind of group.
mhm,
So that is the problem that Nigeria has. No interaction with politics, no interaction with societal issues. You are not supposed to meddle in some issues, just focus on. We go to church a lot.
mhm.
We go to church a lot,
Yeah.
a lot, a lot, a lot. You can be sure of that. In the South, we go to church a lot.
Yeah.
So then you now have another group of Christians that are the prosperity
Uh,
movement sort of thing. So the motivational speakers, the prosperity
mhm,
preachers, those ones also do their own thing somewhere.
mm.
So they are all around. That is how the Church of Nigeria is made up of. We try
Wow.
to preach, we preach, but you get it.
And do you find that most people fall into which camp? The sort of exclusive or secluded? Are they falling now more into the prosperity where you see these massive gatherings of people trying to get their blessing? What does it look like on the ground?
Yeah. Um, Nigeria is a deeply religious society,
Mm,
very, very religious. So in the South here, where Christianity is more dominant, so all these groups that I've mentioned, they still have massive followership,
okay.
massive. Nearly every group has it.
Okay.
The prosperity preachers started coming up um, when Nigeria got down and down the slope of poverty. And so
Mhm.
to give people hope,
Yeah.
these other ones, they saw the opportunity and they latched onto it. So they have
Wow.
their own followings. They have their own followers too.
Mhm. So now, getting into what is, you said, mostly been concentrated in the north, but is making its way into the south. I want to have
Yeah.
an honest conversation because here in the West, majoritively, for lack of a better term, there are two stories. One is the mainstream narrative, which is that there is something happening to Christians in Nigeria. That's the mainstream. They don't tell you who, they don't tell you why. It's just,
Hmm.
there's some level of persecution. Then there's the story, as far as, I guess, the more new media, more in Christian evangelical circles, etc., or Protestant circles, which is there is a concerted effort to massacre Christians at the hands of jihadists, right?
Hmm.
Those are
Yeah.
kind of the two existing narratives. And for me, I can only know as far as the information that I get. I pray to have the opportunity to be on the ground with brothers like yourself, but what is actually happening?
Hmm. Uh, you see, there is mainstream media.
Mm,
I don't want to say everywhere, but I can tell you that it exists also in Nigeria.
mm,
So there is mainstream media. Now, here is the narrative that they always push, which is a false narrative.
okay.
You find that the jihadists will attack villages upon villages. Usually, these villages they are made up of peasant farmers.
Okay.
So they have their farmlands, either inherited from their own ancestors or bought or something of that nature.
Hmm.
And then the jihadists who who move from the north, from the core north, some of them from Niger. If you see the map of Nigeria, in the
Mm,
northern Nigeria, Nigeria borders Niger in the north. Some of them move
okay.
from Niger, some of them move from Chad, but they are Muslims.
Hmm.
So then they will attack these villages and use their cattle to eat the crops deliberately. They will eat these crops. Sometimes there have been reports of yam tuber. So it's not a matter of crops that are in the air, that are just on top of the soil.
Yeah.
Even yam tubers and cassava tubers
Yeah.
will be uprooted by these herders and cut in pieces and they'll feed these things to their animals. And they're always armed.
Mm,
Many, many years ago, they used to be armed with small weapons and swords or things like that. Now they have AK-47. You won't believe it that herders have AK-47, military grade weapons on them. And we've heard in the past ministers that will defend it. That, well, it's normal for them because they are always going around wilderness in the bush and all that. So that is what is happening. And when these
mm,
attacks happen, the farmers do their best to, okay, where do you want them to go? Where do you want
yeah.
them to go? So in the process, clashes will break out and these farmers will be massacred. And what you get in the mainstream media is that there is a herder farmer clash.
Mm,
That's what they push. But majority of these farmers are Christians. They're Christian
mm,
farmers. Sometimes a few of them could be Muslims. That is why they push back and say, oh, after all, Muslims are also victims. They
yeah.
say that. So that is the point. But in addition to that, there are instances where the attacks have nothing to do with farmers and herders.
Yeah.
As bad as that one is, there are instances where villages, churches will be attacked, and you don't see traces of animals. So it has nothing to do with animals. It is
Mm,
jihadist movements,
yeah.
killing upon killing upon killing. It's getting to the south also. It's getting to the south. Because about 2-3 years ago, there was a church in Owo, in Ondo State in Nigeria.
Where is that? North
Uh,
or south?
south, south.
Okay.
Yeah, particularly in southwest.
Mm.
Um, during a church service, I think it was on Sunday or so, and they were attacked. More than 100 people, 100 worshippers were killed. Children, women, everybody. So that has nothing to do
Yeah,
with cattle.
farming. Yeah.
No, nothing.
But the reports about that on the ground were what? What was the story that they had behind that in the mainstream?
Or when it is so obvious that they cannot hide it, then they're going
Okay.
to report it.
Okay.
And they are still very careful not to mention Islam and
Mm.
things like that. So they're going to come up with stories like extremists. That is what they
Yeah.
normally say. Extremists, religious. They say religious clashes, religious extremism, things like that. But we know what it is. That it is
Yeah.
jihad.
Right.
And once that kind of story is reported for some days or a week or two, that is the end. You
Of
don't hear
course.
about it again until another one happens.
So being somebody who was raised a Muslim, then, finds faith in Christ, has family who is in Islam, etc. And you even spoke of your sisters, because there's this kind of distinction between those who know what the actual religion is about and then those who, call themselves Muslims, but they probably have never really picked up the Quran. For yourself as an apologist, as somebody who probably understands, that religion better than most of those people, what is the disconnect there? Why is it that they can't make the connection between this jihad, and they call it extremism, and to say this is just what Islam is?
Hmm. Uh, See, there is a vast difference between Christianity and Islam.
Yeah,
Anybody who is saying, well, all religions are the same, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know.
absolutely. Yeah.
In Christianity, when you go to church, the pastor is going to say, okay, here is my text.
Mm,
This is the message. So open your Bible to such and such, so chapter, this verse to this verse. And as the pastor is preaching, everybody is reading along.
hmm.
That does not happen in Islam.
Oh,
All
wow.
through my years of being a Muslim, I cannot remember if at any time I had any imam or sheikh reference the Quran and say, I'm taking my text from so place. So open it and let's read together. It doesn't happen. And up till now, it doesn't happen. So
Wow.
the average Muslim only trusts what the sheikhs and the imams say.
Yeah.
They just trust. But the sheikhs and imams, if you know them, and I know them, they are, this concept called takia?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so
You can
they will
explain it for our audience, for some of the folks who've never heard that, actually.
wow. Okay. So there is this um, concept in Islam that is known as takia, where um, Allah tells Muslims that it's okay to feign themselves in the face of danger or uncertainty when they're surrounded by enemies, even though the enemy may not be well defined, but you are surrounded by enemies, you feel insecure. So it's all right to feign your religion. It's all right to lie about your intentions so far you do not mean it in your heart. All right.
Mm,
So that is the concept of takia. And that has been stretched to its limits. So
mm,
it's also used to defend to protect, I should say, or to cover the real intentions behind Islamic movements of jihad and this and that. So they're going to deny it.
mm,
And since the average Muslim does not read these things, so all the education about true Islam they get them from Christian apologists. And for
mm.
some time, they're going to doubt us. They're going to say, no, we're lying. It's not true, and things like that. So that's the disconnect. You have on one
Wow.
hand, some people that know that their religion teaches that,
Yeah.
but they're the leaders, they're the preachers, and they will never tell the followers that that is true. So how do you want the followers to believe somebody like me? Even
Yeah.
when you show them this is the thing, read it. Somehow they're still not getting it.
And you would say this is what, probably 80% of those who claim to be Muslims?
I would put the number higher than that.
Wow.
I would put the number higher than that.
They're just going
I'm
with
t-
it.
they're just uh I think it is called is it herder mentality or something like
The
that?
herd mentality. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that is it.
Wow. So these imams and the individuals who are in a position of understanding, do you believe from your own observation as well as your own study that their intention is to, I guess, as they're saying here, globalize the intifada? Is their goal to actually push Islam by any means necessary? Or are most of those imams doing it for personal gain, power, recognition? Are they serious jihadists that are going to go into the world and, see many of the things that we see done in the name of Allah? What do you think?
I think they genuinely mean to push Islam by all means necessary. That's what I
Mm,
believe. Because sometimes the veil is lifted a little bit and you're able to see what is behind it.
yeah,
Before I came to give myself to Christian apologetics,
yeah,
I was somewhere one day um, across the road facing a mosque. It was in the afternoon. And I'm not sure if you know this, but in Nigeria, 5 times a day, you get so much noise all around you. By 5 a.m., everywhere is agog with call to prayer. Everywhere.
wow,
And in a little environment, you could have up to 5 mosques, all of them blaring at the same time. That is going to be repeated by 2 o'clock, between 1 and 2 o'clock, then 4 o'clock, then 7 o'clock, then 8 p.m. That of seven
my
o'clock
God.
is not made, is not, is usually not um, released through their megaphones or their loudspeakers. So they do that silently. So I was sitting across the road on that day, and somebody was speaking, think about it, in a mosque. And he
Mm-hmm.
knew that there were Christians around. He knew that. And he was still telling Muslims that they were not supposed to make friends with Christians, that you should not extend peace to them. That was the exact thing he said.
On the
Don't give
loudspeaker.
exactly. Don't give them salam.
Wow.
Don't and I am not lying. That is the truth. Whenever they're able to do that, they're going to say it
Yeah.
publicly. So it was when I heard these things, it was shocking, to be honest, because as a
Mm.
Christian, there is no place for hate in your heart. You know
Of
that.
course. Yes.
And if you're not familiar with the doctrines of Islam, you'll be wondering, why is this man saying this? Not until I read it in the hadiths. That was when I felt,
Mm.
wow, now I understand. So
It's still like
I believe they know it. I believe they know what they're doing.
it's just mind blowing for me because here you were born in this, and it took you being so far removed from Islam to understand and even get to the hadiths and and get to know the Quran intimately. You had to
Yeah.
be an outsider. Meanwhile, the people who are in it are just blindly following. But then, one of my biggest problems has been that many of the Muslims who claim that those are extremists and it's not them doing all of these things, terror attacks, etc.
Hmm.
Why is it that they don't oppose the ones who are? Why is it that if we had a Christian movement and they started killing people and doing all sorts of stuff, there would be an uprising to separate ourselves, and to shun that behavior and say that's not of Christ, that's of a different spirit. Why is there no uprising of these people? Why is there nobody standing up for the Christians on the Muslim side in the same way?
Hmm. You've asked a very serious question. It's an important
Hmm,
question,
hmm,
and that is what everybody needs to be asking. So why is it that the average Muslim, the moderate Muslim, why is it that they don't stand up for Christians? Okay,
yeah.
so here is why. Um, they do not want to they do not want to appear like they're betraying their faith.
Hmm,
They don't want to be uh, they don't want people to see them that they're betraying their faith. Once a while you find people that are disgusted by this thing, and
yeah.
once it gets to that level, that man or that woman is on his way or her way out of Islam.
Okay.
Once it gets to the level of disgust, they're going to
Yeah.
leave. They're going to leave. So, but most of them are just there. I suppose that inwardly they they are convicted.
Hmm,
I believe that inwardly they are convicted. They know this thing is not supposed to be.
yeah.
But see, if a Muslim says that in in a Sharia environment, and
Hmm,
almost all the northern states in Nigeria, the core north, there's something we call the core north in Nigeria.
hmm,
If you ask about that, I'll explain more. But let me just quickly say this. In the core north, if a Muslim should stand up to defend a Christian, that Muslim will also be killed. I hope you know that is Islam. You must
hmm.
have heard that before.
I mean, you hear about it, but again, it's you can't wrap your mind around it necessarily until it's right in
Yeah,
front of you.
yeah. So in some cases, when you have some mosques burnt down or some Muslims killed alongside Christians, that could explain why
Wow.
that they didn't get along with the jihadists. So they had to also be part of the collateral damage.
Uh, Now you talked about the core north, and you said even
Yeah.
Sharia law rules there, and you mean it's legislated Sharia law
Yes.
in
Yes.
this region.
It it is. So Nigeria is divided somehow horizontally into
Okay.
two. So you have the north, you have the
Mm,
south. Although the landmass in the north has been dubiously structured in such a way that it's larger than the landmass in the south. But
okay.
who cares about that?
Yeah.
So the north is divided into okay. So the northern landmass is also divided
Hmm,
horizontally. So the one in the middle now is called the middle belt.
hmm.
You understand? So here is
Yeah.
the map of Nigeria divided this way, south, north. Then the north is
Hmm.
also divided along that horizontal line. So that belt of land is called the middle belt. That
Okay.
is what is geopolitically referred to as the north central.
Hmm.
So the remaining one at the top is now divided vertically. So you have
Okay.
the west, northwest, and northeast.
Okay.
In Northwest and Northeast, Islam has consumed everything. Everything there, Islam has consumed. I'm not sure if you heard about Deborah Samuel. Deborah
Deborah
Samuel.
Samuel. Who's
Yeah.
that?
Wait. Okay. So she was a Christian girl in a college of education in Northwest Nigeria, Sokoto State.
Mm-hmm.
Sokoto State is the seat of jihad power, is the seat
Mm.
of Muslim domination. The
Mm-hmm.
Supreme Council, there's a Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs in Nigeria, the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs. The head, the President General of that council. You know, look at how it sounds, Supreme Council
Yeah.
for Islamic Affairs. The head of that council is from that state, Sokoto State. And he is
Northwest
also
Sokoto
the
State.
Sultan of Sokoto, Sokoto, Sokoto State. He's the Sultan of Sokoto. So he has a sultanate there. This girl was on a campus, and on that campus, she and her mates, they were arguing on WhatsApp because the Muslims were pushing Islamic propaganda on that WhatsApp group, which, by the way, was meant for assignments, tutorials, discussions, academic discussions. But the Muslims would always be posting Muhammad stuff, Islamic stuff. So this girl decided to stand up to them. A young woman, I shouldn't say girl because she was around 22 years of old, 22 or 23 years of age. The Muslims rallied round and beat her to coma on the campus.
These are
And
her peers.
yeah, her mates. And not only so, then they set her ablaze there on the campus, a college campus, burns her down. The pictures are on the internet. As you're sitting down there, if you Google Deborah Samuel, you're going to see the video. It's on YouTube everywhere. I did a video on it a couple of days back when I was responding to this same man who calls himself the Sultan of Sokoto. That Sultan didn't do anything about the murder of Deborah Samuel. And to make matters worse, on the day the suspects were arraigned in court, more than 30 advocates showed up to defend the murderers. More than 30 to defend the murderers. About a day or two after, the youths in the north, the Muslim youths, they went on rampage, destroying property, setting things ablaze, asking for the release of the murderers that killed Deborah Samuel. And you know what? They were released. No justice till now. They were released. However, in another state somewhere there, also in the north,
in the Northwest,
I think in the northeast, Bauchi State should be in the northeast. A Christian then commented on social media and demanded, why this injustice? The state government arrested that Christian and put her in jail for 1.5 years without trial. A woman.
The woman who posted about it spent a year and a half in prison for posting about it.
Exactly.
While
everything is on the internet.
Free.
The murderers are on the streets now. It took the intervention of some activists to get her released. So that is the state of things in Nigeria.
Wow. And so you say this has happened because you said basically that northern region outside of the belt is now fully jihad territory. You said what nations? Is it Niger that you said is atop of that? Like where are they? Are they coming in?
Yeah.
Are they being formed there?
They come in from the north. You see, Nigeria, I don't know how much time we have left because
We got time.
there is a lot to talk about. If we
Yeah.
cannot, if we can't say everything now, I don't mind.
We'll have a part two. So yeah.
All right.
But we can continue.
In the northern part of Nigeria,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
there is another police structure that is called Hisba,
Okay.
different from the national police.
Mm.
This Hisba, they can actually arrest the national police.
What?
They can, literal. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. So that is to tell you the level of the, what do I call it? And the West is unaware
Evil,
of this.
corruption. So,
Yeah,
and this is what I'm
it's
saying, because
Islamism.
we're looking at it from, it's like we look at, let's say, the UK, whatever it is, and we get it, but we don't really get it. Then we look at New York, right, in the States, and I was like, Mamdani is likely going to be their mayor. And I say, I think the only way we understand is when it's right in front of you, when it's happening, what this looks
Yeah,
like. Dearborn, has already
yeah,
been essentially occupied in the same
yeah,
way. And Sharia law is the next logical conclusion for that. And now you're telling
yeah.
me they're appointing sultans? Like, I'm even thinking of just that idea. They have a sultan now in what used to be, I would assume, a democratic nation.
Well,
That's
if
crazy.
if US allows this madness to go on, oh, don't dream about it. Don't think of it. Do not think of it. In the north, in core north of Nigeria, during Ramadan, the last Ramadan, schools were closed down in 3 to 4 states. Schools, secondary schools, high schools were closed down for 1 month. So when they tell you that, well, Sharia is only for Muslims, it's not going to affect Christians, it's a big fat lie.
Yeah.
So the children of the Christians in those schools, where were they during the lockdown?
Wow.
Apart from that, during Ramadan fast, in the core north, although you are not fasting as a Christian, they will beat the hell out of you if you eat in public. You eat anything in public. Did you get that?
As a non-Muslim, you will
As a
be beat up
non-Muslim,
for. Yep.
you will be beaten. You will thank your stars if you don't get killed in the process. They will beat you.
Wow.
The
Wow.
Hisba, there is this police that I talk about.
Yeah.
So they will be patrolling the townships, looking for whoever is not abiding by Islamic laws. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or you're not a Christian. It doesn't. In the North Central, there is a state called Kwara State. It used to be part of the South, but somehow it's now North. They call it North Central, the middle belt that I talked about.
Okay.
In Ilorin, the capital of Kwara State, there is a university there. It's a federal university. Students of that college, they dare not, female in particular, they dare not go to a particular marketplace with their hair uncovered. They will be lashed. They will be beaten. I'm telling you, they will be beaten. A Christian going to a marketplace to buy something, men will get hold of her, lie her down, and beat her. And it goes on. Nobody says anything. The Nigerian government, the state there is not going to say anything because they're
Because
enforcing the
that's
Sharia.
theirs. I was about to say that's their law.
Yeah.
We almost have a mental sort of dissonance that takes place because we think, or maybe not everybody, but most Westerners, most Americans believe that it's optional if it does make its way, because we're used to freedom, right?
Wow.
We're used to you do your thing, I do my thing.
I
We
do
have the
mine.
amendments. Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. But here you're telling me it doesn't matter if you don't have to be related. It's not because you're a part of their thing. No, it's if you
No,
live there, these are now your laws. These are now your rules. Or else you
exactly.
might end up like Deborah. Like you might be burnt on campus for standing up. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I've been up for hours, I've been up for days, yeah. Staring at the ceiling, I've been counting strays, yeah. I've been in my feelings, I've been out of mind. I've been getting visions of the other kind. Yeah, I've been up for weeks. I'm in the counting blessings over counting sheep. I can never be the type to limit when it comes to me. I used to be the pleaser for the people I ain't even need.